lot right now. Many of us, you guys at home, have children home from school. We're worried about health and finances, and we're just uncertain about the state of the world in general. That can
felt
add
like
up
a lot,
to a lot of stress. Did you feel your stress level rise as I just said that? Well, our resident holistic health expert says that all that stress can take a major toll on our bodies.
Elizabeth offered to let Senya test her adrenal glands. Where are your adrenal glands?
Somewhere in there.
To find out how her body is handling stress and what she can do to manage it. And she finds out how you can do it too.
So since we can't have Senya in the studio, I came to Senya, which is my regular spot here at Healing Insight. I show up here all the time anyway.
We love seeing your face here.
It's so good to see you. And I think we're talking about something that is so important. We're talking about stress. A lot of us are under a lot more stress right now than we've been under in a long, long time. But I think in general, stress is something that really has a tough impact on our bodies.
It does. And a little bit of stress is okay. You know, as long as we recover from it. It's, you know, we're actually meant to go through a cycle of like, okay, a period of stress and then recover.
Yeah.
Stress and then recover. That's totally normal. It's when it's stress, and no recovery, that's when it starts to take a toll on our body.
You had me do a really interesting homework assignment. I never know what Senya is going to tell me to do. And this time she said, I'm going to give you this kit, and it's going to have a whole bunch of little vials, and I want you to spit in them. And so I said, for you, Senya, I will do this. What were you having me do?
So I was having you do something that's called the Adrenal Stress Index. And so it's where we take a reading of what your cortisol level is throughout the day. So we do 4 tests, morning, noon, mid-afternoon, and late night, to see how your cortisol is functioning throughout the day. And then that gives us a read of how your adrenals are functioning.
Do you have my results? Okay, and I am giving everyone permission to publicize these right now. It's totally fine. Senya doesn't usually, you know, shout from the rooftops what my issues are, but today she can do it. Oh, look, she pulls out the paper from underneath the chair.
I have them right here, tucked away. Okay, so I'm going to point out a couple of key things. There's a lot of information here, but I'm just going to show what you need. This is like a 3-page report. So the main thing that I want you to look at is your curve of cortisol throughout the day.
Okay, it looks like it kind of goes down and then maybe up a little bit.
Yep, and so you want your cortisol to be in that green zone. We want to start high in the day. Right when you wake up, the cortisol helps to secrete some more sugar into your bloodstream so you can get going for the day.
Oh, that's good.
And then you kind of want it to like quiet down a bit, and it'll often go up a little bit in the afternoon and then come down in the evening. And so on this chart, we want you to be in that green zone. You are lower than the green zone.
What does that mean?
So that means your cortisol is low. That means that your body is struggling to make enough hormones to like keep you going through the day.
No way.
Yep, and so we need to boost your body's ability to make cortisol again so that you can deal with stress for the long term.
Oh my gosh, that's really interesting. Is that a rare thing to have it be so low?
It's actually really common.
It is.
It's one of the most common things that I see is for your cortisol to be low. And we would think, oh, your cortisol would be high, right? You're under a lot of stress. But actually, if we've been under a lot of stress for a long period of time, your adrenals are going to run out of energy. They can't create as much cortisol, and then your cortisol will be low. And so that puts you at a little bit of risk, right? I mean, if you've been under stress for a long time, the more stress that you deal with in the future, you're not going to be as resilient. You're not going to deal with it quite as well. So for those of us ladies who are, you know, a little bit type A, we tend to have a cortisol profile that looks like this. So I'm not saying that mine is dramatically different when I did the test originally.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Okay, so I look at these results and then we're understanding my cortisol is a little bit low.
Yeah.
So what do I need to do about it? And then what do you think I'm going to experience in my daily life when we get things a little bit more on track?
The first thing we want to do is to manage your stress.
Yeah.
Make sure you're getting enough sleep.
Yeah.
Make sure you're doing some yoga or deep breathing or getting some exercise. You're talking to your friends, you're getting support. That's the most important thing to do, to just reduce how much stress you're experiencing.
Well, just so everyone's clear, I spit into those vials before COVID-19 hit. So I have a feeling that since I spit into the vials, my stress level has increased, which is probably the case for all of us right now.
Very much so. Yep, all of us.
So
myself
managing
included.
that stress behaviorally is really important.
Very, very key. So that's step one. But then step two is we want to do some general support for your adrenals to help them to function better. So that's using some supplements. There's some really good things that are helpful. Number one would be to do a B complex vitamin.
Oh, yeah.
So if you have a multivitamin that has a lot of B vitamins in it, that might be enough, or you can do a specific B complex vitamin because that helps to modulate your body's stress response.
Okay.
There's some other things that are really good. Doing vitamin D is also really key. So, there's different dosages of what you can do. You can always talk with your doctor. And so then you can also do some omega-3 fatty acids are really helpful. So doing some fish oil. And then magnesium is also helpful because especially if you take that at night, that's going to help you calm down a little bit before you go to bed. And then the third thing, so we talked about managing your stress, doing some supplementation, and then also some herbal medicine.
Oh.
And this is where the power can really, really come in beyond just doing some basic vitamins because there's some really great herbs called adaptogens.
Yes.
And adaptogens, if your cortisol is low, it'll boost it up. And if your cortisol is too high, it'll bring it down. And so just depending on what your body needs, it'll do the work for you.
This is so interesting. I'm so glad we did this. And I can't wait to go through even the rest of this fascinating, colorful packet that you gave to me. This is really lovely. Thanks, Senya. You're the best. Really interesting stuff. I think looking into things like this right now, you could really consider a form of self-care. We're home and you can do these virtually. Senya is now offering virtual appointments in addition to testing your adrenal levels. She can help you with immunity support, anxiety relief, digestive issues, and more. And if we've got a little bit more time at home right now, it might be a great opportunity to take advantage of that and just kind of try to get through this the best that we can.
All you've got to do is book an appointment online with Healing Insight. You can connect over Skype, you can do it over Zoom, and talk with a practitioner from the comfort of your own home.
She's even got a deal. Book a free 20-minute consultation and get 20% off virtual appointments through April 17th. When you mention Twin Cities Live, you can book online at healinginsightonline.com or by calling the number there, 651-792-5222. Big thanks to Healing Insight for sponsoring our show. And I've been taking those new supplements religiously.
Good, keep them up, because it's like you mentioned, those were pre-COVID-19 results.
Yeah, this is a marathon, not a sprint, too.
Good.